Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com. Now, the holiday season is upon us. Can you believe it? How time flies when you're stuck in the house, trapped due to a pandemic, right? Wow. Anyway, many of you have asked me if I plan to review any Christmas or holiday CDs. And that's why it gives me great pleasure to present Tinnitus Classics, our very own label's first ever Christmas CD. It's called The 12 Tones of Christmas, the world's first totally dodecaphonic Christmas album. I'm so excited to do this. This is, in a way, it's a retrospective. It's a sentimental journey in the tradition of that fabulous series, Christmas in Darmstadt, that Vergo released in the 1960s and 70s. Those things are long out of print. In fact, I tried to get some permission to license the material and include some of it on the 12 Tones of Christmas, but they don't even know where the tapes are. That's how quickly that stuff disappeared. And, you know, the other sort of sentimental aspect of this is that I really believe that it's the last gasp of the 1960s and 70s sclerotic avant-garde, as Penderecki called it in my presence, to try and have some sort of relevance and to show the world at large that, like, hey, we know how to have a good time too. We're just celebrating Christmas just like everybody else does. And the stuff that's on this disc is really, really amazing. I mean, I got to play on one of the numbers. I'm very excited. I was a special guest artist with our very own Tinnitus Classics, you know, the Musica Urethra, really modern music project. And, you know, there's of course, we've already heard from the Musica Urethra early music ensemble, but this is the really modern music project. And they are marvelous players, as I'm sure you'll agree. And I want to tell you a little bit about some of the items on the disc. Now, of course, the first and the most important number is the 12 Tones of Christmas. This is an arrangement of the famous Christmas carol, the 12 Days of Christmas, for speaker, viola, bass tuba, and tam-tam. And I was the special guest tam-tamist on this recording. Now, unfortunately, they're no longer here. They've all disbanded. My dear friends in the ensemble that originally created this piece, we originally conceived it at Stanford University when I was in grad school with my very, very dear friends, bass tuba Meister Barry Guerrero, who sometimes comments here, and violist Inga Kjemtrup. Hi guys, how are you? I'm sure you're all as thrilled as I am that we finally got to put this piece on disc and realize this amazing concept. Now, the speaker, of course, operates completely in Sprechstimme, and the tuba and viola parts are incredibly virtuosic. But I wanted to take this opportunity to play you a sample of my part, because the six geese a-laying, that part, has a prelude for solo tam-tam. And so I'm going to perform it for you right now, live, the excerpt from the 12 Tones of Christmas. Now, the purpose of this particular prelude was to somehow evoke the birth agonies of the six geese laying their eggs. And so without further ado, let me get my weaponry here. I need this thing. And this, of course, because it's an avant-garde piece, we use some avant-garde playing techniques, including this little device. This is a triangle striker. And you know, you can do wonderful things with a triangle striker and a tam-tam. You know, you do this. You know, like that's what Stravinsky does in The Rite of Spring, you know, before the Stegosaurus and Tyrannosaurus Rex fight. You know, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, whoosh! That's this. Triangle striker. And Richard Strauss uses it a lot too. Like in Elektra, just after Elektra dies, it's da 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 da. The triangle's going like that. So anyway, there we go. I mean, the only trouble with the tam-tam is that it's not the most expressive instrument in the world, and all of the other opportunities to use this and other things on it, they all come out kind of sounding the same. But this is such a wonderful instrument. So without further ado, the prelude to 6 geese a-laying from the 12 Tones of Christmas. There. And then, of course, everybody else comes in, and the piece continues much as it does normally with speaker, tuba, viola, and tam-tam. So that is the title track, the 12 Tones of Christmas. But there's so much more here. One of the most marvelous things is John Cage's rather remarkable 12-tone arrangement of Silent Night. Now, as you may know, John Cage was not usually a Christmassy kind of guy, but he had a particular affection for Silent Night because of the title. And his particular arrangement is a totally neo-Weberian dodecatonic transcription of an excerpt from 4 minutes and 33 seconds. And here to perform it is Pipo, my cat, whose performance of 4 minutes and 33 seconds has already won her several Grammy nominations and has caused her to be in huge demand the world over for her classic performance of 4 minutes and 33 seconds. And here she is performing John Cage's dodecaphonic arrangement. Now remember, there are several arrangements. There's the microtonal arrangement, and there's the octatonal arrangement. I mean, Cage arranged 4 minutes and 33 seconds for many different ensembles and on many different scale systems. He even used some of Harry Partch's, modern invented scale systems for this piece. But this is Silent Night, dodecaphonic version by John Cage, and the emphasis is on the silent. I'm only going to play you 30 seconds of it because you can see Pipo doing the complete 4 minutes and 33 seconds on Tinnitus Classics, which is fabulous. And here she is. Take it away, Pipo. Wasn't that extraordinary? And it took quite a bit of coaxing to get her to perform this just for us. I mean, the performance on the disc is somewhat different. That was recorded in the studio, but she consented to do a live excerpt just for this particular release. Next, on the disc, we have really an extraordinary piece. And again, this is a real rarity. I actually found this myself in digging around in the archives at Urethra in Paris. It turns out that Messiaen made a fabulous arrangement of the Carol of the Birds combined with the Carol of the Bells. You know those pieces, right? And they're very famous. They're very well known. And he was just the guy to do the Carol of the Birds, but he felt that that wasn't quite Christmassy enough for his taste, and so he merged it with the Carol of the Bells. And here is a little excerpt from Messiaen's Ultimate Christmas Carol. And last, but certainly not least, the climax of the entire disc is a sort of reimagination, a reconceptualization of Bach's Christmas oratorio. Now, we've all heard these things, these remix things, right? The Four Seasons remixed and all of this stuff and reimagined, but nothing, and I mean nothing, is as reimagined as this particular version of the Christmas oratorio. It takes, of course, the Bach as a basis, but only as a launching point for a miraculous transformation of the entire work in terms of the modern avant-garde quasi-dodecaphonic aesthetic. And what's happened here, and the amazing thing about this, frankly, is that, as you know, the Christmas oratorio usually plays for like 2 hours or something, 2.5 hours. It's long. Well, this does the entire work in 20 minutes, which is rather remarkable when you consider that it leaves absolutely nothing out. There are no cuts, there are no edits. Rather, the composers, and there's a certain doubt as to who those composers were. Apparently, it was done by a sort of anonymous consortium of German dodecaphonists who wished to remain anonymous for reasons I think we're going to find out very shortly. But the bottom line is all that they did, and it's so simple, the elegance, the genius of the work is you simply take all 6 parts of the Christmas oratorio and play them simultaneously. And the result is a masterpiece of modern avant-garde art. And here it is. So there you have it. I mean, this is the 12 Tones of Christmas, a Christmas album like no other, one that gives new meaning to the term avant-garde and hopefully, at least as far as the composers were concerned, breathes some new life into a musical style and an aesthetic which is absolutely, completely dead and passé. I think it's a tragedy, and I think that this one last gasp, if that's what it is, to try and achieve something like relevance and charm and popularity even, is really kind of extraordinary. Because remember, these people never cared about popularity. They were all supported by the state. They didn't have to ever be popular. No one had to listen to anything that they did. But now we have an opportunity to see if everything that they believed in really has legs. So I am very proud to recommend the 12 Tones of Christmas to you all, and I wish you all the very best for the holiday season. Keep on listening, folks. Thank you, and take care.